So this weekend I've been seeing quite a few comments and quite a few interviews with people who are out on beaches and are out in public and not social distancing and no masks and these sorts of things. And I know everybody's excited to be out. I can tell you that I've been excited, some things getting reopened, etc. But what I've been very surprised about is Christians using the phrase, or self-described Christians using the phrase, I'm not worried about getting coronavirus because God will protect me. This is kind of shocking to me, but in another way it's not. When we're all adolescents, 100% of us, there's nobody where this doesn't happen, there's something pretty magical that happens in our brain, especially in the area directly between our eyebrows. It's got a fancy name. It's called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. And basically this part of the brain, for lack of a better term, starts to mature. And as it matures, certain things happen to us. One thing that happens to us is that we get hyper aware of socialization. So in other words, we have people, who trip in the hallway and they think, oh my, everybody's looking at me and everybody's judging me. All of a sudden people start caring about a lot more about what they look like and the clothes that they're in and these things, right? That's what we call the imaginary audience, because nobody's really looking at you, right? And on the other hand, we have this thing that's called the personal fable. And the idea behind the personal fable is the idea that, well, my life is unique, right? I'm special. I am the protagonist of my own movie. And so because of that, like let's say at your high school, they end up bringing somebody in and the person they bring in was texting and driving. They got into a car crash and now they're a paraplegic. Right? And you say to yourself, well, yeah, but that's them. That's not me. Like other people, text and drive and get into car accidents, but not me. That's just not me. So I can still do it. Right? Same thing. I can have, unprotected sex, but I'm not going to have a baby because that's just, that's not me. That's not me. That's not my life story. I can walk through that dangerous neighborhood, but nothing's going to happen to me because I'm special. And this is something that happens to all of us. And then as we get older, we have to face some really difficult realities about life that we're actually not unique in those regards. And this is something where, and it's ironic because, to be honest with you, I view this whole idea of, God will protect me from COVID and I can just pray it away and these sorts of things. It's just ignoring biological reality and simultaneously projecting. I mean, these people are very immature, in my opinion, because what they've done is essentially, instead of maturing out of the personal fable, they've just projected it onto God. And because of that, they kind of have this ultimate figure that they've projected everything onto, that they're saying, well, I'm always protected. I'm always going to be fine. I'm never going to have a heart attack. I'm never going to have cholesterol problems. I almost had kidney failure. Am I thinking to myself that, that's true, I did. Right? So what am I thinking to myself? Well, God abandoned me, so I got kidney failure. Of course not. That's a ridiculous thing to think. So it's very, very dangerous because what we're doing is we're using these immature coping mechanisms and then we're projecting them out on an external entity. There's a recent survey that was conducted nationally of, what percentage of self-described Christians in America have read the Bible. And it's like between 40 to 60%. It's not the overwhelming preponderance of people who self-describe as Christian. People don't know what they're talking about, and it's really dangerous. And the reason that you read the Bible is to be able to get a sense of the Spirit of God, in terms of to be able to get an understanding of the personality of God. And it's one of these things where I just, in my head, cannot fathom, cannot understand how it is that people who have actually read and really digested the Bible could believe that everybody is kind of, this walking armor against biological disease. So everybody stay safe, everybody continue to social distance, and do not project onto God this conceptualization that we're all protected all the time, all perfectly, we're all going to be perfectly healthy just because we're believers. If you do end up contracting COVID, that also speaks nothing to God's love for you whatsoever. You didn't do anything wrong spiritually. You're not being punished or anything like that. So let's go ahead and be spreading love instead of spreading ignorance this weekend.